Melanie, Jim here. This is going to be a little scattered probably because, as you can tell, I'm on the road at the moment and it requires my full attention, or at least the majority of it, so excuse me if I'm a little scatterbrained when I do this one, and there may be several edits. Getting back to what you're saying about if you actually believed or not, you don't know. I'm not sure if that's actually a conscious choice a person can make or not. Granted, when you're a kid, you're thinking Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy and that sort of stuff. Yeah, you can buy it because you just don't know any better, and your brain's hardly even developed. And, it's sort of a just a learning process, I think. When it comes to believing, in deities and gods and things that have almost no evidence at all to back them up, that sort of happens in a subconscious, I'm fairly convinced. And the reason why you can question whether or not you actually believed or not, I think has to do is because you've been educated. You've got an education. You've been taught how to think critically. You've got a mathematical background of some sort. You can see that 1 equals 1, A equals A, so on and so forth. And so what you were doing is your conscious mind sort of believed, but your subconscious knew. Deep down, it knew that something didn't add up. And it just took a long time, I think, for your subconscious to get that over to the conscious side and say, look, something here is wrong. By the way, this is where I am. There's a Stanford dish over there, and you might be able to see it. Going back to a couple of questions I had for you. First of all, I was wondering, what have you been reading lately? Besides the Bible, of course. What other books have you been reading, if any? Just apologetics, or have you been going into some of the counter-apologetics, or the atheist evangelist books, as I call them somewhat? Have you tried, Dawkins' God Delusion, or Letter to a Christian Nation, or Bart Ehrman stuff, Ehrlich, something like that. Former pastor who is now one of us. Maybe hop back again to the true believer stuff. There are a lot of true believers who know God exists. I know, like Ray is one of them. A lot of his minions are the quote-unquote true believers. I didn't take both hands off the wheel. They haven't been educated. They're living in the world of ignorance still. They've got the elementary school, the junior high, and the high school, and maybe a year or two of college at the most. Ray has none of that, by the way. He's a high school graduate at the most, no college. But they haven't been taught how to think critically, so they can't see that 1 does not equal 2, in the philosophical world. They don't understand the law of identity, the law of excluded middle, the law of non-contradiction. They don't understand these things. To tell them A equals A is, they can't make that jump. They really can't. And it's sort of disappointing, actually. I think the failure is probably our educational system at its worst. When we're just back at teaching kids what to think and not how to think. It's just the way our schools work these days, unfortunately. Another thing I wanted to ask you is if you'd make a video about your religious history. I'm curious, were you born in the church? Did you come in later? How old were you when you did? The church every Sunday and Wednesday, and whatever days they came up in between, or what's your history there? It's sort of curious. Maybe you ought to put up a blog posting about that, or something like that. So it's at least searchable too, and let people know that they're not the only ones out there asking these questions that don't have answers, or at least don't have good answers, if they have ones at all. Share the word, so to speak. Share the faith. Yeah, when you're ready to make that big leap, I know somebody's got a baby on order, so we're going to have a big feast, and we'll indoctrinate you into the baby eating atheist club if you're if you decide to make that jump. But yeah, even if you're not, that's fine. I'm just glad that you're asking questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, and I think learning is not about getting answers. It's about learning to ask the right questions, and it's something I think we all see far too little of these days, is people standing up and not being afraid to ask a question where they may not like the answer, or an answer does not exist. So, but yeah, let people know. Give us an idea of what you have been going through, and what you've been reading. Also, good. I want to point a book at you. Curious if you've read The God Delusion by our famous UK professor out there, Mr. Dawkins. If not, if you want a copy, I'll be more than willing to send you one. It's a good read. Goes through a lot of the history of the church, and a lot of the illogical insanity behind it. Maybe you might find it interesting. Don't need to read the whole thing. Just skim what you like. But if you want a copy of it, I'll be happy to send you a copy. Anyways, I'm getting off the freeway, so I better get my eyes back on the road again. And I'll post this later. Bye.